The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Rodgers reportedly had a 25-minute diatribe about how bad the Jets' rushing offense was last season. We'll talk about that, plus a Sauce Gardner update, and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby. We bleed Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Kings of the offseason, baby. This is what we do. At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go. Here on a Monday. Click the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are another day closer to the start of New York Jets training camp. We will continue to be live each and every day, twice a day. Find that anywhere else? Oh, wait, you won't. Shout out to all the ASMANIACs who tune in and make this channel what it is. Let's say hello to a good friend of the show. This guy is hustling for WFAN. He's also the co-host of the Believe in Jets podcast with former Jets RB, Bilal Powell. Rami Lavi joins us now. Rami, happy Monday. You're kind of in that dead period now until training camp. How we feeling, my friend?
I'm doing all right. The fact that you're doing 2 podcasts a day during this period is truly impressive. So thanks for having me, Jake.
Well, I'll tell you what, the fans are the reason why we could do it. You were out at Fanatics Fest yesterday. You saw the passion from some of the Jet fans there to see Sauce, to see Revis, Breece, Mason Taylor. So despite how bad it's been, this fan base remains elite. I want to get into the state of the team with you. I want to get into your thoughts on Aaron Glenn going into year one. But let's talk about some comments that were made by Aaron Rodgers, apparently. Now, let's be clear. These are secondhand remarks. Mark Schlereth, Fox Sports NFL analyst, on his own podcast when talking about Rodgers being in the Steelers, he had a conversation with Rodgers last year before the Jaguars game in the pre-production meeting, and that's where these comments come from. But I'll pull it up on the screen here. This is via Pro Football Talk. Mark Schlereth said on his podcast that Rodgers had one very specific aspect about the team's offense that he had to talk about. Quote, Aaron and I had a conversation when he was with the Jets about how abysmal their running game was and how schematically it made no sense. I started the conversation, and then Aaron went on for about a 25-minute diatribe on just their run game. A lot of people saw the headline, Rodgers unloads on the Jets, this or that. When you actually read the comments and you understand where they're coming from, what were your full thoughts on this, Rami?
So I saw this actually last week, and then it resurfaced this week. So I think if you actually look at when the podcast came out, it was about a week ago, but it didn't catch on with how social media works, where we're trying to keep up. We basically wait for Awful Announcing to post it before everyone else sees it. But I saw this somewhere surface last week. I think actually Evan Roberts brought it up on the air when I was working with them, and that's where I first saw it. So I brought it up to Bilal, and I asked him, and I said, what do you think about this? Because that, to me, you know, he played in the NFL. He knows what an offensive line should look like. And think about the talent from the offensive line, just from a talent perspective. Everyone's talking about how good the offensive line is supposed to be this year. You're basically just swapping out one guy, right? You're swapping in Membu for a guy who last year, Morgan Moses, was really good for them. So it's not like it's this massive overhaul at offensive line. And I still believe that this is a really talented offensive line. In fact, in pass pro, they were pretty good. So I asked Bilal what was happening in the run game, because this was a conversation we had constantly last year, that you have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, and they can't seem to run the ball. Every time they touch the ball, there seems to be someone in the backfield before anything happens. So what is going on with the run game? And Bilal said, yeah, it does come down to scheme, but he said a couple other things that are very interesting. He said, number one, they're designing the offense to be pass first. They were so focused on the pass. He said, when you establish the run, it's easier to be more creative and create a run game. But when you're so reliant on pass first, and that's all you care about is keeping the quarterback happy, in this case, Aaron Rodgers, which incredible that we're still talking about Aaron Rodgers. But it's when your whole offense and really your whole team is predicated on keeping him happy, that's what you're going to focus on. And that's why the team was better at pass pro than they were at run protection. And Bilal said it himself. He's like, it is so much easier to run block than to pass block, because run blocking, it's like, hey, you have this guy, you're running at someone, as opposed to stepping back and letting them come to you. That's a really hard thing to do as an offensive lineman. And so the fact that they were worse at run blocking than pass blocking is a clear indictment on the scheme.
Well, it's interesting because people saw the comments, and I think the first reaction is, oh, Rodgers, you handpicked the offensive coordinator. Like, the Jets did everything you wanted. But I think when you actually read the full comments, which Schlereth is trying to say, I think Rodgers is talking about, like, the offensive line coach. I think he's talking about, like, Keith Carter. I think he's talking about, like, the offensive line schemes, not necessarily the play calling. I only bring this up because I had Brian Baldinger on my show at Radio Row at the Super Bowl this past year, and he unloaded on how bad the Jets' rushing attack was. He said that it was like it was worse than like a high school offense as far as like the scheme and the blocking scheme goes. Like he could talk about it way better than I can as someone who never played. But just hearing that and then kind of seeing these comments from Schlereth, I think that's what is being referenced here. But I really don't even care because Aaron Rodgers is not on the Jets anymore. I more so now look forward and say, if this team's going to be any good, they got to be able to run the football because there is talent on the offensive line. Breece Hall is super talented, as is Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. Like, the only chance the Jets have of being a competent offense is not going to be because, oh, Justin Fields is going to figure out how to light it up as a passer. It's going to be, well, they have the ingredients in place to be a really good rushing football team, and they better have fixed the issues from a year ago, and hopefully better coaching leads to that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Keith had as a problem also in going back to his Tennessee days, right? If you talk to any Titans fan, there were issues there. So that's not a shocker at all. And we know that Aaron Glenn voted for the tush push to stay in. We know that the number one asset for Justin Fields is his legs. They are going to be a run first, second, and third offense. They're going to try and run as much as possible and open up one-on-ones on the outside for Garrett Wilson by running the ball. But they want to be a hard-nosed, tough-running football team. And so that's the plan. And so from day one, it's a certain mentality. When I say that they voted to keep the tush push, there's a certain mentality that, yeah, we're tougher than you. It's not 1st and 10, it's 1st and 8, because guess what? If we need those 2 yards at the end, we're going to shove it down your throat. We can do that. We can go for it on 4th down. So I think there's a certain mentality there that it's going to be a run first. And one of the things Bilal said also about that, he said, is that when you're a running team, he said, it establishes toughness for your whole team. Going into every game that, hey, we're coming out, we're punching you in the mouth. It gives you a toughness on the offensive side that you don't otherwise get when you come out and throw it 3 times right away. He said the other thing is it's a copycat league for a reason. He said so many people call it a copycat league like that's a negative thing. He said you have to be able to adapt to what other teams are doing. And what Aaron Rodgers wants to do on offense is so antiquated. And yes, he's incredible at it, but he wants to throw those back shoulder passes, and the way he wants to get up to the line quickly and keep it really, really simple so that he can catch defenses and see what they're doing. That doesn't work. And especially when you take away a little bit of the talent that Aaron Rodgers has at this point in his career, all of a sudden that whole thing fell apart. So instead of keeping it super vanilla and simple, they need to now figure out a run scheme and figure out how can we steal plays? How can we get creative? And we're already seeing it. You saw it in OTAs with throwing passes to the offensive linemen and different stuff like that. Offensive linemen standing in the shotgun. I'm not saying we're going to see Joe Tippmann standing in the shotgun.
That was more a bit. Have fun on the last day
of
of
course,
school type of thing.
Exactly. But the point is they are going to prepare for things that we haven't seen as Jet fans in a long time as far as creativity on the offensive side.
Comes down to Engstrand. I mean, that's to me the biggest unknown beyond Fields. It's like, do we have a real offensive coordinator? Because he's never been an NFL play caller before.
That's true. And again, you know, we saw this with LaFleur a few years ago. I thought a lot of his play calling was very creative. And this is what Bilal was saying. It almost doesn't matter how creative the guy. It's more of a mindset thing. Of course, it matters that you have a good offensive coordinator who can call plays. But he said, as far as running the ball, it's more of a mindset of, hey, this is what we're establishing. This is what we're trying to do. We are a running football team, as opposed to a team that's saying, oh, we're just going to rely on Rodgers.
If you're watching live, hit the like button. After we talk with Rami here, I'm going to spin the wheel 4 times, and we will give away our 4 Jets items as part of our weekly ASMANIAC raffle. Also, if you don't win, don't worry. Daily raffle, end of the show. Let's start off the week with a bang. Signed Keyshawn Johnson Jets jersey to one lucky listener tuned in live. So gift a channel membership if you want in our Keyshawn Johnson jersey raffle. With that said, Rami, let's talk more about the state of affairs with this Jets team. We got this update yesterday from Sauce Gardner. Shout out to a Jet fan named Omar who asked Sauce about the status of his new deal at Fanatics Fest, and Sauce apparently said to him, real soon. I do believe that Sauce and the Jets get a deal done before the season starts. Where are you on that? And then also Garrett Wilson as well. What's your confidence level that the Jets get an extension with him before the start of the season?
So I think they will get done because I do think it's a priority. And the more I talk to Bilal about this, he believes it's a priority too. And this was something interesting that we went back and forth on, because to me, it's like, hey, you have a new regime. Don't you want to see what they do under the new regime? Don't you want to see how they look? Don't you want to see how Sauce Gardner looks without DJ Reed on the opposite side? I know he was an all-pro, but he's coming off probably, like, we watched him every day. It wasn't as great of a season. And a funny story. So I was right there at Fanatics Fest. I'm walking by where Sauce Gardner was taking those pictures, because right on the other side of that, us at WFN with Brandon Tierney, we were doing a podcast. He does a Jets podcast, and he was doing his show with Wayne Corbett. And so it's, if you can picture this, the wall, and I'm holding up my hands if you're listening to this, but the wall's here. And on the side of the wall, you see, if you saw that picture where Sauce is standing, so literally around the corner is where the stage is set up for BT and Wayne Corbett. So just around the corner to Sauce's right is where that is. And BT starts the podcast fiery. If you know BT, he's got a ton of passion. And he's like, man, you know, you have Sauce Gardner posting on social media after he's not making tackles and no one's holding him accountable. And he's just ripping the old Jets regime. And the player he keeps mentioning that wasn't held accountable is Sauce. Now, I have no idea if BT knew that Sauce was standing 7 feet away from him and the speaker's blaring and he definitely heard him. I don't know if Sauce cared or if he's so, adept at drowning out the noise. But it was just so funny. I walk up to BT when the show is over. I'm like, Sauce heard all of that, right? He was standing right there. He's like, yeah, okay, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But, what's funny is Wayne was so high on building the culture and establishing a culture and making it and the change that's going on in the Jets facility right now. And I think part of that is paying your own and keeping your own. So to bring it back to that conversation, I think that's a big aspect of it. I would love to see, now they showed up to OTAs, but that's a good thing. I don't know when it became like this, oh, wow, congratulations for showing up to your job that you're supposed to when your contract's up in a year and a half. Now, Bilal pushes back on me because he understands the athlete side of it. This is when you have to get paid. If you go into the last year of a contract with no contract in place, then you could lose all your guaranteed money, and it's not a place that any athlete wants to be. So I understand that now is the time to do it, but I don't know if it gets done before the season. Maybe they wait till a couple weeks into the season, see how these guys fit in with this new regime. At the end of the day, this is a new regime. These guys didn't draft Sauce and Garrett Wilson. I'd be more in a rush to sign Garrett Wilson just because when was the last time we had a skilled player as talented as him? As far as Sauce, we know how talented he can be, but I think the commitment level we saw from him the second half of the season was slightly concerning. And I would want to see a real level of commitment under this new regime before we give him a long-term contract.
So I get that, but I also think it was a toxic environment a season
100%.
ago.
I'm not blaming him.
Like, no one besides, I would argue, probably Jamie and Sherwood had a good year on that defense, given what the expectations were. And if they wait, it's only going to cost more. And especially if Sauce returns to being a first-team All-Pro for the third time in 4 years, forget just narrowly beating Derek Stingley's $30 million a year. Now we're talking about Sauce asking for $40 million and completely resetting the market with the cap going up. So if they've seen enough from Sauce being around him, I'd pay him now, and I'd pay Garrett because these are the guys you pay. I think it sends the right message to the locker room.
100%.
You get the buy-in. Bilal could speak to that as a player.
You get the buy-in from people who want to come in as free agents too. That's what we talked about. You take care of your own. We want to come be a part of that. Yeah,
I just think like these are the guys that you pay. So, I mean, I would do it. Sauce's down year, quote unquote, is still better than most corners in the league. Rico had a good comment here. He ran the numbers. Sauce's worst season is averaging less than 2 catches per game and 1 touchdown all year, under 400 yards receiving. I know he needs to tackle and get picks, but man, I could live with that being a bad season. I do agree that you'd like to see him force more turnovers. Some of it, though, especially his first 2 years, they didn't throw to him. Like, we watched it. So let's not, like, have revisionist history that now all of a sudden his lack of interceptions is this huge thing when he didn't have any his second year and was a first-team All-Pro. So he's not perfect. He's coming off a down year for his standards. But I'd rather pay him because corners get paid. You have the guy. I would do it. Garrett, to me, is a more tricky negotiation just because production-wise, he's not a top 5 receiver production-wise, but you watch him, you know the quarterback adversity he's had to deal with. He's, to me, a top 10 receiver in the league, and receiver contracts only go up, especially after what Jamar Chase just reset the market with Cincinnati. I'd try and get something done with him, too. I think it'd be a priority for me if I was running the Jets.
What's so interesting about Garrett, though, do you think where do you think his contract lands relative to some of those other giant contracts we've seen for wide receivers?
Over $30 million, which would place him in the top 10 among receivers. And I think for a guy that the Jets still have leverage on because they have his rights for this year. They also have his rights on the 5th-year option. They really wanted to be, that team with the hard ball. They had the franchise tag. Part of it is you get these guys done now because then long-term it helps you with your cap by being able to spread it out over multiple years.
And that's what I was going to ask you, too. So it's so weird because you never know in the NFL. A team can come out of nowhere and be really good. What if Justin Fields does all of a sudden put it together this year? Like, I don't think either of us are expecting him to have this crazy year where all of a sudden he just puts it together and he becomes this great passer. But what if that does happen? Then the Windows conversation is kind of stupid. But do you think paying 2 skill position players, a wide receiver and a corner right now, does that change how you have to look at the window as opposed to, hey, we're not rebuilding with Aaron Glenn. We need to kind of win while these guys are in their prime under these contracts?
I just look at it like these guys are in their early to mid-20s. They're really good at premium positions. You're not paying a quarterback a whole lot of money now. Like, this is the time to do it. Like, the Eagles get ahead of it with all their contracts, and that's how they're able to keep their super team together. To me, good teams get this done. Like, if this was a different team, we wouldn't even be debating it. It'd be like, oh, no doubt you pay them.
Right. And that's the whole point of it, is that it's nothing like when you focus too much on windows and different things like that, then it gets. By the way, speaking of the defense for a second, because you said everyone struggled on defense, did you see this report? Because I don't know if this is true. I saw this somewhere. I forget where, but that Saleh was coaching. The scheme was the game plan. The scheme was to play from ahead. And so that's why their defense was like kind of this pin your ears back and run at the quarterback.
I did a video on that. You probably saw it on this show. Yeah. Apparently an anonymous front office executive for the Jets told a reporter, well, the defense struggled because we were built to play from ahead. And it's like, bro, you led the NFL in blown fourth quarter losses. You had the lead several times. You couldn't do it. Don't just blame Aaron Rodgers on the offense. There were several times that you scored enough points and the defense collapsed, like against the Patriots, like against the Colts, like against the Dolphins. There were so many games last year where they had the lead late and they couldn't get a big stop to save their lives and allowed bad quarterbacks to go down the field and beat them. A joke.
Unbelievable that was a real thing that was said. But yeah, it was a weird, again, you put up the stats for Sauce, and I agree. I'm not saying the stats were bad, but what's weird is if you watched it every day like we do, you watch it game in and game out, it was a weird season. With the comments on social media, it started right away, week 1, where he's not on the field for that drive. You're like, wait, why is he not on the field? What's going on? Is he hurt? Is there something going on here? And then obviously the game in Arizona where he looked disinterested in he just was like, hey, keep me out of this. I'm going to stand back here. There were points throughout the year where it felt like he didn't want to be a part of anything. And that was the part that was more concerning. It wasn't a statistical thing, because obviously we know that and the other thing, and I think this is not on him, I think this is how referees decided to call him this year, was they wanted to throw more flags on him. I don't think he was more physical in a not smart way this past year than he was the previous 2 years. I thought he did the same thing. He's a physical corner. That's, if you're going to be a great cover one-on-one corner in the NFL, you have to be really physical. Go watch Darrelle Revis highlights, right? But I think there was a more of a tension to him being physical from the referees. Like, hey, we're going to throw flags on this guy. I don't know why. So hopefully that changes again.
If you're watching live, reminder, Keyshawn Johnson signed jersey. We'll give it away at the end of the stream. I want to shout out J-Boy, who's the first to get memberships this week on the show. He is in the ASMANIAC Raffle for 5. J-Boy, this is for you. And since Rami works for the fan, this is the clip I'm choosing to play.
We are mama way.
Yeah, baby. J-Boy, your memberships went to generic YouTuber name Nelson Gragels, Brandon James, Lato P, and the Gremlin. Also, for those of you who are expecting the announcement for ASMANIAC Raffle number 29, we will do that at the conclusion of the conversation here with Rami. Rami, I want your thoughts on some news that became official this morning. Woody Johnson has purchased part of Crystal Palace, a 43% stake in the Premier League squad that is based in London, $254 million. So he now is into the soccer space. I'm looking at it from a positive perspective. Hey, maybe he'll spend more time looking at Crystal Palace and he'll stay away from Glenn and Muji and just let them do their jobs these next couple of years.
Hey, Crystal Palace fans, get ready to learn FIFA ratings, all right? But no, I think every Jets fan sees this and is immediately...
Hold on, you think?
Thinking is overrated.
That's quick. I got to say, one of the things that I do, I fill in for Eddie Scazzeri on the morning show, and the drops, it is like, I take great pride in it. I think I can mimic him almost as well as he does it on Boomer and Geo, but it's tough. You got to get to them quick. So that was pretty good. But yeah, with this is great for Jets fans because, like you said, he's going to be focused on this. And the conversation that went around, I think Colin Cowherd was the first to say it, but a bunch of people, Nick Wright picked it up, talking about how the Knicks got back to relevancy by building it the right way. And, we could talk about what happened now that he's back involved. It seems like James Dolan, but it seems like they got back to relevancy because Dolan was away playing with his sphere and focused on his sphere. And they brought in Leon Rose, they brought in World Wide West, they brought in Tom Thibodeau and said, hey, build it the right way. And we saw that process. Could this be what happens for the Jets? And it would be the perfect time to do it because now there is a new regime, right? So if you had any confidence in this new regime, which my confidence in this regime, as time has gone on, as we're seeing more of how they do business, specifically with Glenn, we don't know much about Muji yet, but specifically how Aaron Glenn conducts himself. I thought he took a massive step from the draft to the OTAs. I thought the way he approached the media improved drastically from the time in the draft where he was so combative to the OTAs where it at least felt a little bit less combative, where he was playful and he had, still very tough, but was almost playful with the media, a little bit more joking, which I think is a good thing. I think when you're so tough and you start losing football games, it ends up blowing up back in your face. So this is the perfect time. This is the time to get out of the way and let the guys that you hire to do their job. No more of your kids running around making decisions. No more all these things. We need to get rid of all of those aspects. And I think if he's away working or focused on something else, that's the perfect net. Now, the downside of it, which I think people have talked about, how quick is it going to be before he tries to move this team to London, at least on a halftime basis, right?
It's not going to, he can't move the Jets to London.
But he might get even better for the Jets. What if he gets an expansion franchise there? And then
sell the Jets to someone else, would he?
I would welcome that with open arms.
Gary V, here's your opportunity, man.
Exactly.
We've been talking about it for a decade.
Yeah, so I think this there's in no way is this a bad thing. This is a good thing for the Jets. It's a great opportunity for them to build it the right way, a slow, proper rebuild process, which, by the way, in the NFL could take 1 year because if you get the quarterback position right, that's it. Your rebuild's done. So it doesn't have to be a long rebuild, but it just has to be done the proper way. And it felt like the last few years, and I know I was all in on Aaron Rodgers. I was a big Aaron Rodgers fan, and it didn't work out because he got hurt. But it just felt like the quick fixes under the Woody Johnson era, which obviously we're still under. But, the quick fix mentality was not going to work. Now, is this the type of thing where 3 years from now it's going well, and then he's like, oh, cool, this is the hot item again. Let me get back involved with the Jets and get my fingerprints all over it. I hope not. But I could see that happening, similar to the Knicks, where I think, once they got hot and James Dolan saw the celebrities and saw the people standing outside the Garden partying, he's like, oh, let me get involved again. And let me see what social media is saying about Tom Thibodeau. Ooh, let me fire him.
Are there any Jet Crystal Palace fans out there? If so, God bless.
Oh, my God.
If so, God bless. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. We're talking with Rami Lavi, who does an outstanding podcast with former Jets RB below. Pal, breaking down everything going on with the New York Jets. Some other items I want to get your thoughts on here before we wrap up with you. Your thoughts on Malachi Corley. Rich Cimini had a story out over the weekend talking about his roster spot, and it certainly could be in danger. How do you view his path to making this team if you think his spot is in danger going into training camp?
Well, Aaron Glenn said it, and I love this mentality. Every spot is earned. There's no such thing as a, hey, you have an automatic role on this team. We know how talented Malachi Corley is because we saw it coming into the year last year. We thought this was a guy who's going to be a major part of this offense. And by the way, in this scheme where it's going to be run first and then you have Garrett on the outside, they could get really creative with him. We could see them doing so many different things with Malachi Corley. But you have to earn it. And last year, whether it was because of this dysfunction or maybe he's not as engaged as we thought, or maybe he's just not as talented as we all hyped him up to be. I don't know what it is. I like to think that because the spurts we saw him in, he was talented, right? So I think that's a good mentality to have, but they obviously need the help at the skill position. They don't have a really deep receiver room, so I'd like to see him make the team. And if he does make the team, maybe this is what they're trying to do. Maybe they're just trying to light a fire underneath him, and I would love that.
I just think it's going to be tough for him to make this team if they're going to keep Lazard, because I look at it like this. You have obviously Garrett Wilson.
Wait, Lazard hasn't signed with Pittsburgh yet?
No, he's still a Jet. Hasn't been traded yet. But I thought for a while, and maybe it still could happen, but it does feel like maybe the wind is blowing towards Lazard actually somehow surviving all this and being on the team. But if he is on the team, right, you have him, you have Josh Reynolds, you have Garrett Wilson. They signed Tyler Johnson. I know his contract doesn't make it a foregone conclusion he's here, but this regime went out of their way to bring him in, I think, for a reason. They're not cutting Arian Smith, who's a fourth-round pick. So you have really Corley, you have Xavier Gibson, you have Jamal Pritchard, who was a UDFA that apparently impressed on special teams. Corley didn't play special teams last year. Like, it's hard to find a spot for Corley because are they going to keep 6 or 7 receivers on a team that is going to try and run the ball as often as we think the Jets will? It's really hard to find a spot for Corley unless he goes out there, is 1, healthy, and 2, produces in training camp in the preseason.
What's your opinion of Xavier Gibson, though? Because Bilal and I were furious that he was still returning punt. Like, he looked so unsure on so many punts. I know he has the 2 returns that end up going back for the touchdown, right? The big one that everyone remembers on opening night a couple years ago. But to me, I don't see him as a key piece to this team at all. I don't see, he's not great in the receiving game. And in special teams, he concerned me more often than not.
Yeah, I don't understand the Xavier Gibson love affair. I'm
right.
hoping that he's not on this team. But if he does make it over Corley, what does that tell you about Corley?
Then it's a problem. And that goes back to drafting, right? And you could look at Joe Douglas and say, hey, man, this is another skill position that you got in a later round that was just like that, maybe you thought it was nice, but how many times do we see this, whether it was Elijah Moore, and Elijah Moore probably still has talent, but didn't work here. There were so many guys that Denzel Mims, you could go back years and years of Jets regimes drafting wide receivers in middle rounds and them being, we've seen these are guys, by the way, who are productive on other teams. It's wide receiver is not a position that has to be a first round pick in order to be successful in the league. There are plenty of guys across the league who are middle round picks who end up becoming really good or even great wide receivers. So this idea that the Jets can't find a skill position player outside of the first round is concerning.
That's why, wouldn't it be ironic if we're all so high on, Denzel Mims and Elijah Moore and Malachi Corley, and they end up all being busts, of course. And the guy that this fan base wanted to have a near revolt on during the draft this year, Arian Smith in the 4th round. Imagine he ends up being like a successful skill position pick by this new regime. Like that'd be very Jet-like if the guy that nobody actually wanted is the guy that ends up being the most successful, like day 3 or even day 2 and beyond, swing at skill position wide receiver.
Well, if Jets fans have proven anything, it's that we don't actually know. When we predict things, we're usually wrong more often than not. And it's a good thing because I think Jet fans predict a lot of positivity. And unfortunately, there hasn't been. So I want to say Jets fans are extremely resilient. And we continue to believe in the team and to buy into the team, which I like. But yeah, that would be such a home run for Darren Muji that in his first draft as a general manager in the NFL, he nailed a pick that the Jets have gotten wrong for years and years and years. Yeah, I would love that.
I mean, to me, that would be a great sign for Muji and Glenn. And the other thing is, and I'll get you out of here on this, Justin Fields, forget even just Fields, if they go 9-8 this year, and like let's say they don't make the playoffs, but at least it feels like, hey, they're actually coached well. Like there's actually like a real like confidence that we get from this new regime. I'd sign for that right now. Now, do I think they're going to be a 9-win team? No, but hopefully I'm dead wrong about that. So I'll get you out of here on this. What are your expectations for the Jets this season?
My expectations are it's weird because it's negative and positive. I do think they find a way, just with the regime change, just with the overall mentality that they have. I think they find a way to win 7 or 8 games, and it feels like, wow, we got this real bump in year 1, and we feel good about ourselves. The problem is that enough for them to believe in Justin Fields more than they should? And that's where I'm concerned. If they win 7 or 8 games and Justin Fields is mediocre, the way I look at it is, okay, we got the regime change. We got the bump that we wanted. We see how it's moving in the right direction with the mentality and the toughness and all those things that we talk about that Aaron Glenn brings to the table. Now let's go find a quarterback. But if they're like, hey, we won 8 games with Justin Fields, we think he could lead us into the future, and they extend him beyond next year, and all of a sudden they're talking about him as building around him, and they're looking at it the way that Detroit looked at Jared Goff, I don't think you're winning anything, and that could be a real problem.
Rami, appreciate you tuned in. Appreciate you coming on the show. Continue success. When is the next episode with you and Bilal?
And yeah, I apologize. I guess they decided some unplanned maintenance on my apartment. So if you hear any background noise, I'm sorry about that. But thanks so much for having me.
Rami, I appreciate you, man. We will let everyone know when the next episode is out. I don't think Rami saw us because of the issues there in the background with maintenance. I thought it was like a music show going on behind him. But anyway, appreciate his time. Good insight. Fair points from him all around. Let me get caught up on some memberships here. If you're tuning in late, I'm about to announce the winners of ASMANIAC raffle number 29. That's the Joe Namath signed football raffle. And at the end of the show, I'm also going to do a bonus daily raffle. If you're watching live, you got a chance to win a signed Keyshawn Johnson Jets jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Taxter gifted 5 channel memberships. Anthony L gifted 5 channel memberships. And Frank P gifted 10 channel memberships. So we're off and rolling, start of a new week, and the channel memberships are a-flowing.
It's the ASMANIAC membership raffle. For every membership gifted, you receive 1 ticket entered in the raffle to win epic prizes.
Epic prizes being raffled away momentarily, but first, let me shout out everyone who got a channel membership. Thank you guys for your support. Beast Mode, Barber Rich, Chaos, Julio Kelly, Rating Jaguar. Those are from Paul. The following channel memberships that were just gifted that you're going to hear me read off. These are from the great Anthony L. Nate, parentheses Nate. Indy Jets. Indy, sorry about your Pacers. Anthony DeRise, Kyle Clifton, and Philip Hannon. These are now from Frank P. A 10 spot from our guy, Frank P. The greatest raffle winner in recent ASMANIAC history. He won in the same week 3 signed Jets jerseys on the show. JM2. J Mall, John B, Motivational Means Media, Swamp Ranger, Yeti, Mickey, Dixon, Yas, Ryan, Kaza, all receiving channel memberships there. Appreciate all of you tuned in to the show. Eli with a super chat. He says, Jake, I got my Garrett Wilson autograph picture a couple days ago. Just want to say thank you and keep up the great work. Go Jets. Eli, that's awesome, man. You deserve it. Glad that a true Jet fan won that prize. Adam writes in with an ASMANIAC super chat. It has been too long. Great to see Rami on. Jake, don't go supporting Crystal Palace now. You're an honorary Nottingham Forest fan. Yes, I am. I will not be supporting Crystal Palace. I cannot. I'm a Nottingham Forest fan, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, more super chats. This one from Lee Van, who checks in. The infamous Bang Mateo and I are now friends and might meet up at a boxing event. I'm not convinced that Bang Mateo is a real person, Lee, so I'd be very careful. All right, Bang Mateo is too afraid to call into the show and show his face. He's going to meet you in public. I don't know if I buy it. Ladies and gentlemen, Bo C just gifted 10 channel memberships. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time to debut a brand new video
Bo knows football. Bo knows baseball. Bo knows tennis. Bo knows basketball, too.
Bo knows channel memberships.
Yeah. Bo in the raffle for 10. Shout out to you, Bo. Roseanne, Michael Nero, Fernando Velez, Clancy, Brian Hilarlo, Sco, Wild Wave, Billy M, Sean Evans, Castaway Jet, all receiving channel memberships. Bo knows, baby. All right, let's get to the raffle. I got 4 prizes to give away. I got the best listeners, and it's time for 4 of them to be rewarded for supporting our show.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly ASMANIAC raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which ASMANIAC is winning an epic prize.
That is right. You see the Wheel of Champions up on the screen. Just a reminder on what we're spinning the wheel for if you don't already know. We are spinning the wheel for the following prizes: a signed Joe Willie Namath football, a signed Darrelle Revis football, a signed Wayne Corbett jersey, and a signed Kevin Mawai jersey. Those are the top prizes. You can only win once, so if you hear your name called, you win that prize. We'll start with the Joe Namath football, but before we do that, music, please. Yeah. Here we go. If you win, please message me. If you're on Discord, you can message me there, or Patreon, you can message me there, or email me, AsmanJake@gmail.com, the address on where to send your raffle prize to, and I will do my best to get it sent out this week. With that said, let's spin the wheel. The winner of the Joe Namath autographed football is listener Snowball. Congratulations to Snowball, Long Island's finest teacher, one of the all-time greats, starting off his summer vacation after a hard school year with a signed Namath football. Snowball, I will get that sent out to you this week, my friend. All right, Snowball has won a prize, and that means it's time now to give away a signed Darrelle Revis football. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Revis football is listener Daz Acoustic. We're sending it international. Daz, based in the UK. Daz, congratulations, my friend. We will get that sent out to you in the near future this week. All right. That's one international. Daz, well done, sir. Here we go. Prize number 3 features a signed Wayne Corbett jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the jersey is PBM. Mike deserves it. The man tore his ACL this week, but at least he's won a Justin Fields jersey, and now he has won a Wayne Corbett jersey. Got one more jersey to give away. It is a Kevin Mawai jersey. Jets legend, Pro Football Hall of Famer. The jersey includes his Hall of Fame inscription on it, making it more valuable. Ladies and gentlemen, our final raffle prize in this week's ASMANIAC raffle, raffle number 29 that we've done since December 1st. You won't find a show that gives away more prizes to its listeners than this one. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Kevin Mawai jersey is listener Knob Craft. Knob, congratulations. Well deserved, my friend. Well deserved. Knob is our final winner. So once again, Snowball won the Joe Namath football. Daz won the Darrelle Revis football. Mike won the Wayne Corbett jersey. That's Purple Belt Mike. And Knobcraft won the Kevin Mawai jersey. Great list of listeners, all true Jet fans, no crummy Patriots fans in that raffle. And don't think I'm not prepared for what's coming next now. All right? I already can tell you what the top prize is in Asmaniac Raffle number 30. The top prize is a signed Aaron Glenn New York Jets jersey. That is the top prize in this week's Asmaniac Raffle. But wait, there's more. Prize number 2 in this week's Asmaniac Raffle is a signed Justin Fields jersey. And finally, prize number 3 is a signed Sauce Gardner jersey. So, all current New York Jets featured in this week's Asmaniac Raffle. If you want a chance to win any of those 3 prizes, gift a membership to be entered. If you've already gifted during the show, you're automatically entered in that one. And for those tuning in late, I'm giving away a signed Keyshawn Johnson jersey at the end of the show. So you got another prize that you could win. Gift away to be entered, and you're entered for the Keyshawn jersey that I actually have right here. Signed, all ready to be distributed. And then the other 3 prizes that you heard me just mention. Thank you guys for continuing to support the channel. All the memberships, all the super chats, it goes towards these raffles to make it possible. And congrats again to our winners. Reminder, when you call into the show until training camp as a way to incentivize new callers and people to contribute to the show, that means you get a raffle ticket. For every call, you earn a raffle ticket as long as your call is on topic to whatever we're discussing that day on the show. So let's get to your calls. Phone lines are open. And first up today on the Gustbuster Umbrella Hotline is none other than the great Kyle Clifton.
What's going on, Jake?
Hello, Mr. Clifton. How are you?
I don't know who to thank. I don't know if it was Paul or Anthony, but thank you for the membership, guys. I don't understand the pushback on paying Sauce and Garrett. These are guys you drafted. These are guys who have performed. 2 All-Pros in his first 3 years. Yeah, are we talking about 11 or 100 yards most years for Garrett, or maybe a 1,200-yard season in there? This is with poor quarterback play. These are the guys you pay. It is time to get veterans who have been in NFL games, who have performed in those games, paid. And the fact that we have 2 such guys on either side of the ball, all the better. We have the cap room to do it. Let's get them signed. Let's do it before we start camp. And I don't want to be penny wise and dollar foolish this year. I want to make sure that it's going to actually cost us money if we don't get these guys in the fold. There is no reason to think that these guys aren't going to maintain their level of play. And I want them to be Jets long term. You could argue that Quinnen hasn't played great the last year or so, but it was the right thing to do at the time, right? And I'm still hopeful that Quinnen has good football left in him for the remaining year or 2 that we will have him, where he's where dead money doesn't really come to play. This is the time to secure these guys. This is how NFL teams are run. Like I don't really understand the pushback on it.
It's people maybe being like afraid of like, oh, it's the Jets, so if we pay him, something's gonna go wrong. But like the opposite is, oh, if we don't pay them, and guess what? These guys will end up going elsewhere and probably win Super Bowls elsewhere. How many times have we seen that with former Jets going elsewhere and having great careers, right? Like, so keep your own, man. I'm 100% in agreement with you.
Well, the other thing is that most likely we're going to have a quarterback cost controlled. right?
Correct.
If we're expecting that Fields is not going to work out, and we can be hopeful of it. But if he knocks it out of the park, forget it. You'll find a way to fit all these guys underneath, right? You'll have to, right? Like if Fields finally pops and becomes the guy that everyone thought he could be in their wildest dreams, the 4-4 guy who can go through a couple of reads and find guys downfield and stress defenses, you'll happily pay him. Otherwise, you've got a cost-controlled backup for next year because Tyrod's going to be off the team, and we don't worry about quarterback right now because we have a cost-controlled quarterback in-house, right? And we're going to be continuing to build through the draft. We might pick out one player through free agency next year when we have a little bit of cap room to kind of solidify the Glenn scheme. But I would expect that we're going to be probably pretty measured in free agency again next year. Thanks, Jake.
Kyle, well said. Well said. Good call. That's how I look at it too. Like either Fields is the quarterback next year and he's not costing you a lot, or there's a rookie who's not costing you anything but a rookie contract. So this is the time to get deals done with your guys. Black Gypsy is in the daily raffle and the weekly raffle for one. He is gifted 1 channel membership. Bang! Bang! Thank you, Black Gypsy. For those tuning in late, signed Keyshawn Johnson Jets jersey. We will be raffling away at the end of the show. Folks, this guy's been a regular caller ever since he announced that he would call in from his nudist colony. So it was time to give the man his own proper intro.
Well, there's a feller they call Charleston Jets rude, 'cause he calls the show nude, never wears a shirt. And some folks, they don't think he's got pants on either. It's a gosh darn nudist camp. Let's hear it for that Charleston Jets Rube and see if he has any Jets points today.
Hey, that's great. Thanks, Gator. Actually kind of looks a little bit like me. That's not bad. I appreciate that. But
You look great.
Yeah, I think the little cartoon there has me a little chunkier than I am, but that's all right. That's all right. I'm trying to add some LBs, so that's okay. So I wasn't aware. I've been seething over this whole Aaron Rodgers report all weekend. So you're telling me that interview with Schlereth happened like mid-season last year? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was before the Jaguars game when Schlereth called that game, and he said it on the broadcast at the time.
Okay, I really don't remember that during the broadcast, but I'll take your word for it. I just find it, I think I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan and all that, but we basically brought everybody in that he wanted us to bring in, and he was king check out of the run. Now, he might say, well, I did that because I didn't like the running game, but I mean, I felt like most games we didn't even give our running game a shot. So I don't know, man. I just, it's really disappointing to hear him say that stuff. To be honest, it's very disheartening, and I was still kind of an Aaron Rodgers fan, but this almost makes me have to rethink that.
I mean, I think you're overreacting. I think he's talking about how bad the schemes were, how they couldn't block it. I don't think he's taking a shot.
We brought in his guy, though.
Not Keith Carter. Was Keith Carter his guy? Keith Carter shouldn't have been employed. How did that guy survive 2023 when everyone who knew anything about O-line play told you that the Jets had no idea what they were doing up front in run blocking?
Okay, here's my question. If we were giving Aaron Rodgers all the pull with personnel decisions and coaching decisions, if we brought in Hackett to lure him in, wouldn't you think that they would have given Hackett enough power to where if he came in and said, oh, my God, this offensive line coach is so terrible, I need
Saleh wanted to keep him. Saleh wanted to keep him.
I understand that. But again, we basically bent over backwards for Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed.
And if Hackett came in and said, I don't like this Keith Carter guy, I don't like the way he schemes.
I don't think Hackett had any power. He almost lost his job. Saleh was trying to find a veteran offensive coach that would basically be the OC without the title.
I don't know, man. I think Aaron Rodgers definitely deserves some shade for this.
Sure, but why was the team so bad at running the football?
I mean, that's one thing that does worry me a tad bit about this year, but I think it was mainly scheme. I do.
That's what he's talking about.
And I get that. But he also, I mean, how many times did we even average running the ball last year? Was it even 20 times?
Well, I mean, and it got progressively less as the year went on when we all saw what he saw. They couldn't run. They tried to run the ball, and they were so bad at it. They were the 31st ranked team in rushing yards per game, and they also had the lowest rushing attempts per game.
That's what I'm saying. They kind of go hand in hand. With running.
Well, I mean, if you suck at it and then you keep doing it, what's the definition of insanity?
Well, yes, but I mean, how many times do you hear with these running backs? You just keep chipping away, and in the second half and in the fourth quarter, things start opening up. But we never had the fucking opportunity to do that.
Well, I mean, they had the lead and they blew it a million times. So
because Aaron fucking Rodgers
or the defense or the kicker
to establish the fucking running game.
Charleston, calm down, man. All right, you might be naked, but that doesn't make any sense.
I'm just saying.
So let's talk about the defense, Mr. Rube. Any thoughts on the defense? Any thoughts on the defense against, let's name the teams. Let's start with the Patriots. Your thoughts on that one. Oh, then your thoughts on the Colts performance. They scored 27 that day, and they lost to Anthony Richardson at the end. Oh, let's go to the Miami game. What happened in Miami when they were up 8 and let Tua go down the field and tie the game on the 2-point conversion? Then they didn't get the ball in overtime because they lost a coin flip, and the Dolphins offense scored a touchdown on the opening possession. That's 3 games right there that you could put on the defense. It wasn't just Rodgers. He obviously wasn't good either in certain circumstances. It wasn't just Rodgers. You just made it sound like all their issues last year were because of one guy, which just isn't true.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm. Can you hear me still? Because I'm getting something crackling.
Uh-oh. You sound like a robot, Mr. Rube.
Yeah.
When Bill's a feller they call Charleston Jets Rube. Cause he calls the show nude. Never wears a shirt. And some folks, they don't think he's got pants on either. It's a gosh darn nudist camp. Let's hear it for that Charleston Jets Rube and see if he has any Jets points today.
That was great. Love it. Mr. Rube, call back anytime. I enjoy the passion of June, even though I vehemently disagree with a lot of what he was saying there. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Keyshawn Johnson signed Jets jersey. We raffle that away to one lucky listener at the end of the program. So get the channel membership if you want in on the conversation. And if you call into the show, you get a raffle ticket like Charleston Nude Rube just did. Black Gypsy is next. What's up, Black Gypsy?
What is up, Jake? So I am fucking tired of people talking about Aaron Rodgers. It's such revisionist history. Like, it's so infuriating as a fan of him and as a fan of the team. First thing, Skip Bayless is the reason why we have this narrative of Aaron Rodgers. Like, everyone that watches football listens to what he says and then personalizes it and says some dumb shit. What Charleston just said was fucking stupid. Just like, it's stupid, bro. Like, the games last year were decided by the defense and the offensive line. Aaron Rodgers did what he could do to make it better. It wasn't great, but it wasn't all his fault. If I had to blame somebody, I'm going to blame coaching and I'm going to blame that line. I'm not going to blame Aaron Rodgers. Like, there was games that they should have won. The kicker didn't do what he was supposed to do. The defense didn't do it. Let's take those things into play. There's no but. These are the things that happen. This is why said thing happened. If our defense was better, we would have won another 4 games last year. Easily. Easily we'd have won another 4 games last year. Like, was Aaron Rodgers great? No. But he was still the best quarterback we have had in years. Put some respect on his goddamn name, bro. Like, all he is doing is speaking the truth about what a shitty organization the Jets is. Like, as Jets fans, we have to take that. We have to take that. Like, our organization sucks. We have not been good for a while. Like, they keep Woody just makes it worse. And all the blame comes on one guy. It's Aaron Rodgers' fault. He did this. He's a diva. He did that. Like, come on, man. Like, he's already gone. say salute to the guy that came, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and played for a team, and keep it moving. Like, everything that he says is factual. Everyone wants to say Aaron Rodgers lies about stuff. What are the things he lies about? He tells the truth for the most part. Anything you see him say, like, he believes what he says. I'm not going to knock him for, like, it's so stupid. As fans, we look for someone to hate on instead of hating the organization. Like, the organization sucks. That's what Aaron Rodgers basically said. He just to make it like calm. Our organization sucks. As Jets fans, we should take that and be like, all right, thank you, Aaron. Keep it moving, deuces. Maybe we'll get better. The knocking of him every single time, it's just annoying. Because like if we were a good organization, when he came here, we would have won something. But we didn't. Because we suck. Woody sucks, the coach sucked, the offensive line sucked, the defense sucked. Those are the facts. Aaron Rodgers was meh. Now, at his level of meh, you can blame him for being meh, but he's still the best quarterback we've had. So put some respect on his name. All you Rodgers haters, I would love to backhand slap. Because when he first came to the team, everyone was on their knees just gobbling. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, we're going to win a Super Bowl. And then he gets hurt. And he gets hurt because of bad offensive line play. Like, and then he comes back the second year. Bad offensive line play. Your kicker sucks. Your coach sucks. He gets fired. But yes, still it's all Aaron Rodgers' fault. He runs the team. He's the owner of the team. The narrative that literally the media gave us to play back is the reason why I hate Jets media and I hate the media overall when they talk about the Jets. Because they just make us look stupid every single time.
But you love me, right, Black Gypsy?
I do. You're my favorite person on here. That's,
okay.
That's why you're the only person I'm subscribed to or I pay a membership for on YouTube, period. I listen to everyone. So, like, what Charleston says is just stupid. Like, just take it on the chin that we have a bad organization and be happy that we got a Brett Favre to come play for us, Aaron Rodgers to come play for us. Like, that we have those names in our list because we're going to suck still. But at least we have good players that came here and tried to do something, and he tried. Give him his credit for trying. Stop shitting on him because, like, what do we get out of shitting on him? Our team still sucks. Aaron Rodgers is going to go on to the Hall of Fame. Like, we're still going to suck. Like, I'm so tired of hearing it. It's like when Wilson was sucking, everybody was, no, Wilson's going to get better. Wilson's going to get better. Like, yeah, he sucked. That is all that it is. The Jets suck. When we get better and we have a good quarterback and we get there, then we can be happy. But shitting on Aaron Rodgers is not the reason why we suck.
Ladies and gentlemen, a passionate Black Gypsy.
You get the fuck out.
Love it. Love the passion on both sides. Kyle Clifton says, an animated Rube is jarring. He's usually so laid back. I couldn't believe what I was hearing from Charleston Jets nude. I was fired up. Matt from L5 says, Jake, first off, I hope you slept well. I don't think I did, Matt. I don't think I did. It's hot as hell. Second, great hat. It is. Promo code Jake Asman. Get a Huga House performance hat like the one I'm wearing. 20% off. Asman at checkout. Do it. You know you need it. Do you think Woody saw the Jets beta Madden rating and got rocked? I don't think that was real, the Jets Madden rating. I think that was last year's rating. The Jets were like an 86 in Madden. There's no way they're going to be an 86 in Madden this year. I don't think that was real. Joe Mike became a channel member. Joe, thank you very much. We'll get you in the raffle for 5. Speaking of Joe Mike, we have some emoji debate that needs to be decided. Coach Cho is the next Asmaniac that's going to get an Edgemo. Here's what it looks like on the screen. This was made by Gator. But Joe Mike wanted to throw his talents into the ring, and he made this as the channel emoji for Coach Cho. Which one should be the Big Cho emoji? This one or this one? This one or this one? Now, the second one might cause you to have a nightmare, so I don't know if we can go with that one, Joe Mike, but I do appreciate the effort. This one feels a little more appropriate for a family-oriented show. I mean, Coach Cho looks dead here. Unbelievable. I'll let you guys argue in the comments. On that note, let's get to more of your calls. This guy won our top prize in the raffle. If you tuned in late, our top prize is a signed Joe name with football. We gave that away earlier, and he has called in to talk about it. Snowball is on the line. What's up, Snowball?
Hey, Jake, it's Snowball. Yeah, things are doing better. I don't think there was any issues with jumping into that algae pool. But yeah, I think I might need to see a doctor.
Blast off. Good God. You look terrible, Snowball. And he's gone. Wow. That's what happens when you jump into an algae-infested pool. But I hope it was worth it because the man won a signed Joe name of football. Not too shabby. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. More of your calls right now.
Buenos dias, El Jake.
Beast, put some clothing on. What are you doing?
Getting a nice tan. I don't know. I'd rather be inside than getting baked outside like a chicken.
Now let me ask you something. How are you getting a tan if you're in a dark attic?
You mean global headquarters? Ding 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 ding. And I couldn't stop laughing yesterday. I couldn't stop laughing at this one movie called Baby's Day Out. What a funny movie that was. That was too funny. But I do like Black Gypsy's points. Everybody, we got to get on with our futures. You know, Aaron's the past. Justin Fields is the future. And I don't see any of our boys going nowhere. Nowhere, no go, no chance. And I do see next year's cap space. I think we might have a $25 million cap space next year. And I think that shall be fine. We will keep that money intact and we'll keep it in full control.
Is there a tanning bed in the attic, Beast?
It's Global Studio Headquarters. Please get that. Please get that. Correct.
Is there a tanning bed in the Global Studio Headquarters?
No, not yet. No. I'm also going to be doing some reviews today on the great George Carlin. I'm going to be checking on watching some of his stuff, and then I'm also going to be reviewing couple other things. I'm going to be watching the 98 Jets on here. I'm going to do some reviews, and then do some homework. Do a little brushing up, and then I might do a little. Do you ever hear this? Some good old dusting. Dusting today because it's going to be 98 degrees, what you see is what you get. And right now, I'm about to go do the next best thing. It's called someone once said, when you gotta go, you gotta go. Oh, off to the toilet we go. Catch you later.
It's just Beast being Beast, folks. Top prizes in this week's raffle for those tuning in late. Signed Aaron Glenn jersey, signed Justin Fields jersey, and a signed Sauce Gardner jersey. And if you didn't win a prize earlier, you got another chance today. Keyshawn Johnson signed Jets jersey, raffling that away at the end of the show. If you gifted a membership, you're counted in that. If you call in, you get a raffle ticket. Somehow Beast just got a raffle ticket. More calls right now. Jason in Jerusalem is next. Hello, Jason.
I mean, how do I follow that up? You always put me on the spot with quality calls.
That we do, Jason. That we do.
Okay, 4-year anniversary. The final game at the Old Barn.
That's right. This was the Beauvillier goal.
Yeah, and Kinger with the call of all calls.
I remember it well. Yeah, that was a great night.
And we no longer have the Old Barn, and we no longer have Kinger. A stupid move by the Isles.
No, that Game 7 still hurts to this day, losing 1-0.
Oh, bro, the pain. As for the Rodgers comments, with all due respect, we needed to bring in your guy to be the offensive coordinator here. And he sucked. And he didn't know anything about how to use Breece Hall. He didn't know anything about blockers. Keith Carter, why he had a job to run an offensive line, I have no idea. But they're both gone. So if you think that this team is going to be running the same offense with the same incompetence, that's not happening. But there needs to be some level of accountability on behalf of Rodgers, because the same way that this idiot organization hired Adam Gase because of Peyton Manning's rousing endorsement, that's the same reason why Nathaniel Hackett had a job running this offense, this pitiful offense here. So to some level, Rodgers deserves some level of blame here.
Let me ask you something. There's some speculation that you're actually safer in Jerusalem right now than you were if you would be if you were in Beastbreaker's attic. Would you like to comment on that alleged allegation?
Well, that's because he hasn't dusted it yet. Once he dusts it, it might be a little bit better. Okay. I'll give Beast a little bit. I also know what the ventilation is like there. I am concerned about it, but in some of the bomb shelters I've been in, there haven't been much ventilation either.
Now, how does a bomb shelter compare to the global studio headquarters that you're picturing Beast living in?
It probably has the same shitty Wi-Fi.
Okay.
One thing, I know I'm getting ahead of myself with this, Jake, but I did have a look at this. 2026 is going to be 25 years for 9/11. September 11th next year is a Friday night. Any chance you think the Jets or Giants get a Friday night standalone Week 1 game on the 25th anniversary of September 11th, or the NFL just doesn't touch Friday nights for U.S. games?
They did for that Brazil game last year with the Eagles and the Packers, right?
But that's because it was in Brazil. Wasn't there something about games in America because Friday night is the high school night and Saturday is the college games? The NFL doesn't want to touch those.
Yeah, if they do it early enough, I think there was a rule where they got around it. They don't do Friday nights because of high school football. I think there's like a federal rule about that. There was some sort of rule about that. I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if maybe they did it Week 1. It just happened to be on a Sunday as opposed to a Friday, right? It's still around the 25th anniversary, but I don't know. No, it's interesting.
New York, listen, if any of the Jets people are listening to the show and if they care about the franchise, they should get on with the NFL, Mike North, whoever makes the schedule, already start petitioning. MetLife should be hosting a game on September 11th, 25th anniversary of 9/11. And anything less will be a travesty for the NFL.
Look, I think it's a great idea. I just wouldn't count on it.
Oh, I mean, give me the Giants for all I care. I mean, I prefer to be the Jets, and I have full faith in the NFL in messing this up. But I'm giving you early enough time here.
Yeah.
From my lack of a bomb shelter here in Israel.
Jason, good call, good points. If logistically it's possible to do something like that, I think that makes sense. Remember, the Jets played on the 10th anniversary of 9/11 against the Cowboys in 2011 on Sunday night. That was a great Jet win that night. So maybe. I don't know. Those Friday games seem reserved for like the first international game. Like, isn't the Australia game next year in 2026? Wouldn't that be on a Friday night? They wouldn't do Jets Giants in Australia. Barbarossa writes in, so the AI summary is saying some of us are making fun of Beast and others are wishing each other good day. Who's doing what? You never know who's doing anything around here. All right? I certainly don't. I don't think.
Thinking is overrated.
All right? I listen to my owner. Signed Keyshawn Johnson jersey, giving that away at the end of the show. It's been a wild show. There's been screaming. There has been yelling. There's been passion, the likes of which we've never seen before on a June 23rd Jet show. If you want your voice heard, you have to call in and be a part of it. That is the only way to let people know where you're at with everything. Indy Jets is next on our show today. Indy, thanks for calling in, sir.
Hey, Jake. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
BG, Boy Green asked me a question this morning. He says, which was more painful, watching Halliburton go down in Game 7 or watching Aaron Rodgers go down in 4 plays? And, watching Halliburton go down in Game 7 is far more painful than watching Aaron Rodgers in 4 plays. And he had disagreed with me. But getting there.
How could he disagree with you? He's not a Pacers fan. He doesn't know your feeling.
Well, right, but I think what he was meaning is hey, at least you got there. You're looking at Aaron Rodgers. We're looking at what Aaron Rodgers could have been, or what we could have been, but yeah, it was painful. But I want to say, I usually I agree with Black Gypsy, but this time when he's saying get off of Rodgers' case, hey, the quarterback takes the credit when they win. Doesn't matter if the defense is the reason why the quarterback gets the credit. So guess what? Quarterback gets the blame for when they lose, and it doesn't matter why. So if the Rodgers can't lead the team to win, it's his fault. It doesn't matter how bad the defense plays, because if Aaron Rodgers wins 15 games and the defense wins 13 of those 15 games, he gets the credit for it. So, big boy panties on, and you're going to have to just take it for what it is. You get the blame for losing, whether it's his fault or not. That's just how it is as being a quarterback.
Yeah. Obviously the quarterback's always going to get the most praise and blame. I think our listeners are a little smarter around here. I think we could have nuanced conversations about the Aaron Rodgers era and what happened. And I think at times it's lazy. Oh, it's all Rodgers. He sucks. And it's like, remember what you people were saying. If we just get average quarterback play, our defense is top 5. Our special teams is elite. We're going to go from a 7-win team without Rodgers to a team that should win 9 or 10 games as the floor and be even better potentially than that. And I think for a lot of the year, Rodgers did do that. And there were times he certainly didn't, but then people exonerate how bad the defense was, or Zerline cost them games, and just the poor decision in hindsight by the owner to fire the coach at 2-3, despite what maybe Robert Saleh was. These were all things that happened last year, in addition to Rodgers at times and not getting it done when they needed him to. I think that's all fair to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the reason why we lost games, when you dig into it, was defense, was all these things. But Aaron Rodgers gets the blame for it, just like Zach Wilson got the credit for 7 wins, when we know that top 5 defense gave him 5 of those 7 wins. Zach Wilson got credit for 7 of them. He probably only should have got credit for maybe 1.
Well, he didn't even,
but he got the credit for it.
I mean, Simeon won 2 of the games that year too, by the way. So, like Zach Wilson, I think, had 5 total wins.
Yeah. And so he gets credit for games he didn't even play. And it's just like, no, come on now. Our defense was one winning games for him. He was losing games for us too. So, my thing is Aaron Rodgers came in to win games for us. At the end of the day, he didn't. And it wasn't just his fault. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers, guy, truther, as you would say. It wasn't all his fault. He didn't play very well, just like the rest of the team didn't play very well. So it's not all his fault, but he gets the blame for it, because you're the quarterback and you're the general on the team. So if you lose the war, the general gets the blame, whether it's his fault or not. But we were talking. I see Bang Mateo in there talking about how Sauce Gardner is not an elite corner. He doesn't match up. He's not a Darrelle Revis type. He's not a Deion Sanders type. And I'm pretty sure that Darrelle Revis got, in his first 3 years, only had two Pro Bowls, kind of like Sauce, right? And then Deion Sanders only had 1 in his first 3 years. So when you're comparing, you can't compare a Hall of Fame guys at the end of their career to a guy that's only been in the NFL for 3 years. Okay, he's only got 3 interceptions, but there's a reason for that too. I would, instead of his tackling going up, I want to see him get more turnovers. I want to see him get 4 or 5 or 6 in a year instead of 2. That's his rookie year. And so I don't really care about his tackling as much. I want to see him get more turnovers. That's what I'd like to see out of Sauce this year. Maybe Aaron Glenn can change that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the next step for him, right? And I think he's added weight. He's bought into what Glenn clearly wanted him to do in that regard. I think Sauce is a outstanding player, and he's going to get back to being what he was his first 2 years this year. I really believe that.
Yeah, his tackling really isn't that far off from what Darrelle Revis was. I mean, as far as numbers go, It's just the interceptions.
I'll
that
push
need to
back.
go up.
I'll push back on that a little bit. Darrelle Revis was he was abnormally great at tackling for his position. Sauce, I don't know if it will ever be a great tackler, but I think he could get to a point where it's not a weakness, where if he's an average tackler with his coverage skills, you're talking about one of the game's best corners every year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not saying he was up there. I'm just saying his tackling isn't near as far off as what the interceptions are. And if Sauce had 5, 6, 7 interceptions a year and his tackling was low, then okay, well, I'd rather see his interceptions go up. I think this defense needs to make more turnovers this year, and get back to what Jets fans like to see. We like to see a smack you in the mouth kind of football on defense, and I think maybe that's what we got this year. I sure hope so, because I'm tired of what we've been seeing over the last 2-3 years. It's just not been good football. 10 years. Let's just use 10 years. And we need to get back to some good football where we can actually be proud of. I want to see a Jake Asman show where we actually have a winning season. I just never even existed.
No, since I've been doing the show, Indy, great call. I've never seen that. Honestly, I don't think any of the YouTubers that you guys tune into have seen that. Right? I mean, was anyone doing Jets content in 2015? I don't think so. At least not on YouTube. That's how bad this franchise has been. It's sad. Very, very sad. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Keyshawn Johnson signed jersey. I'm raffling that away at the end of the show. So if you want a chance to own a signed Jet item, you're watching live, gift the membership to be entered. Kyle Clifton is in the raffle for 2 with this super chat here of $10. Back to the zone run scheme this year. Running game will be vastly improved. Get Tip AVT out there pulling. Time for Brees to prove he's got the vision as well as the speed and power. If Membu equals Mauler, look out. I agree with this, Kyle. And that's why I think Steve Hyden, the O-line coach, pressure's on you. Engstrand, pressure's on you. Let's have some real creativity in the running game. We know the Jets want to be this physical run-first team. That all sounds great when you say it aloud in June and May. Now do it. But if they do it, there's a path to having a competent offense if they do that, if that makes sense. So I think that's what we're looking to see ultimately. I agree with all that. Hit the like button if you are tuned into the show right now. That is the thumbs up icon. That is a way that you could help the show without doing anything other than clicking a button. That's it. That's all you need to do. We've had a lot of intense calls on this show today. I've been surprised. A lot of screaming, a lot of yelling. And it got me thinking to another time on the show when there was a lot of screaming and a lot of yelling. Ladies and gentlemen, last night in our Discord channel, he threatened to crack Gator McCluskey's skull. Charles Eugene M. Gorman joins us. Hello, Charles.
He was trying to be a smartass and wishing harm on other opposing teams' players. How about I wish for your skull to get fractured? And he was like,
Gator just wrote in, Charles wants to murder me. So to be clear, you don't want to crack his skull.
I don't want to murder you, Gator. Granted, you could be a smartass sometimes, but you're too much of a national treasure.
Who would want a picture with you besides someone who knows you from my show, your show, or Nick Shine's show?
That's a good question.
What if Gator was there? Would you take a picture with him? Because you did threaten to kill him in the Discord the other night.
I didn't threaten to kill him. People are taking those words out of context. He was praying for every player and every other team to get anal warts. And I said, what if I pray for you to get your skull fractured?
Yeah, what did you say?
I'll share my screen with you.
Make sure you delete your history first, Charles.
Oh, stop it. Gator says if he's not a Jet, he sucks. But I can't help it, Charles. I put my head on my pillow all night, just wishing anal warts on all non-Jets players and fans. And then I said, how about I wish for you to get your skull fractured?
But it does sound like there was some intent there, no?
Intent? What do you mean by intent?
Like there's some intent, you know?
I don't want to hurt Gator, and I don't really wish harm on the guy.
You said you don't really, though. I mean, that's not exactly helpful.
Look how smart this dude is.
Why don't we just apologize to Gator and we'll let bygones be bygones?
Where's Gator?
No, he's in the chat. He wrote, I'm so threatened. Damn.
I'm going to kiss you and make up with you?
Yeah, there's no kissing on this show. It's who do you think you are here?
First of all, I'm joking.
Just like you were joking about fracturing Gator's skull, huh?
I was upset that Gators said that if they're not a Jet, they suck.
I see where Gators coming from with that take.
What?
They're not a Jet. They're garbage.
So you think Adrian Peterson of the Vikings was a terrible football player?
He wasn't a Jet.
He's a future Hall of Famer.
What do you do
That's
for the Jets?
my opinion.
Charles embracing the gangster rapper persona, Gator. Stay safe, brother. Thoughts and prayers.
I'm not a killer. I'm not a psychopath like people claim that I am.
All right.
I have a bad temper, but I'm not a psycho.
Charles, thank you for the time. Farewell. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Eugene M. Gorman. That was tremendous. It's been that kind of day on the show. Calls right now. Eric is next. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Jake. So with this Rodgers thing, I think a lot of people are kind of overblowing it. It's not like he was like running to the media flaming us or anything like that. It's kind of like a private.
Uh-oh. Eric got whacked. Eric, you're back with us. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that was about.
It was
I was saying,
StreamYard. It wasn't you. Don't worry.
all right. I think Rodgers needs to take a little accountability. It was mostly coaching, but whose offensive coordinator was it? Who was calling lines at the play? Who was switching everything up? But with that said, like, who really cares what he's saying? Like, if you have a problem with it, go beat him week 1. If not, then who cares? Like, let him run his mouth all he wants. He's not really doing us any harm. People hate him way too much for no reason, really.
I agree. I have no ill will towards the guy. It didn't work out. But
Yeah, he still tried to work with us. He took pay cuts,
yeah, he wanted to stay too. Like, people conveniently leave that out. His preference was to stay a Jet, but it is what it is. I mean, I have moved on. I'm hoping Justin Fields is good. I have doubts about that, but I'm a Jet fan and I'm rooting for Fields now. He's the quarterback.
That's all you can do. And with Sauce, I can't believe how many people don't want to sign him. Like, yeah, he had a down year, but it was still an amazing year. He's given us 3 good years. You want to pay your own guys. Like, yeah, it's risky not to pay him. It's risky to pay him either way. Like, bet on your own guys. Like, show people they want to be here. He's not intercepting the ball that much because they don't really throw at him that much. Like, he could be better at tackling. No one was good tackling last year because the coaching sucked. Like, he'll be better with Aaron Glenn. You got to have some faith.
I agree, Eric. I do think that Sauce is going to be what we were accustomed to seeing his first 2 years this year, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's all I got. Thanks, Jake.
Eric, you got it. Great hair. Eric's got tremendous hair. Beast, what do you think?
Not too bad.
How was your poop? I heard you clogged the toilet.
That's for me to know and you to find that out.
You know I'm right. You dog.
Let's not go to that department. And I'm right now doing a little bit of a.
That wasn't a no. Here. I think I'm onto something.
No, I'm actually doing a little research on something that I need to go
on clogging toilets.
No. Try a little bit more like music wise. I'm looking at one of my favorites, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which I'm hoping to go see this year because I haven't had a chance to go these last.
Beast, it's a family show.
I am not farting, please. For the love of God, please, someone stop pushing that fart button. It's funny and all, it's great, but I'm trying to do something here called looking.
Global toilet clogger. Is that what they call you now?
That's the 80s way of saying the other way around. Now, I'm not gonna go too far with all this stuff. I've seen some great quarterbacks in my life, from Ken O'Brien. Neil O'Donnell was okay.
Beast. Take a breath.
I'm
man.
not goddamn farting. Jesus Christ. You know what? In the words of Gordon Ramsay, I seriously, I really don't need.
How about in the words of yourself? You just speak for yourself.
In the words of Gordon Ramsay, I know what I'm going to tell you.
Forget Gordon Ramsay. I want you to speak.
I'm definitely going to go.
How about in the words of Global Enforcer Beast?
I'm going to take my leave because this is really getting to be mega-leave ridiculous. You're making a fool of yourself now. Here, take this F off with you and have a good time. What a panic! Oh my God.
Beast, thank you very much for the time.
Rejected. Sorry.
More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say hello for the first time today to a part-time shoe salesman and a part-time attorney at law.
Are you an actual lawyer or what, man?
Yeah, I am a lawyer.
Call
The champ is here, baby.
Those are law books. Those are law. I still have we found. I gotta find out who left that.
Yeah, we have not found who left the review of all reviews.
I don't check them too often, but the best part was that my coworker was reading it out loud to Joe Bonesy, like, confused, like, look at this review, like, about Alden's shoes. Those, ignore the shoes behind him. Those are law books. Those are law books. And the way he said it, my brother was telling me the story. Just couldn't keep it together. But on to
if you find out who left that review, do they get discounted Alden shoes?
Everyone gets discounts already, man. Nobody wants my shoes even at half price. So it's all good. But I do appreciate, shout out to Chef Kev, Snowball. Those are my two most recent purchases. So those are my guys right there. My Jets talk. So of course, we're talking about Rodgers. Got to call and defend my boy a little bit. One thing about our community and our Jet fandom and all our stuff is we're so quickly to turn on someone, and all the people that are like F Rodgers, he sucked, da 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 da. Those are going to be the first guys to jump off fields when he sucks. Is just going to turn the page, like it's like Rodgers didn't try, like he didn't want to be here still. Like he didn't take a pay cut. Like he wasn't giving his like he was being a prima donna or something. Like, no, dude. Rodgers tried very hard. He took pay cuts. He came back from the injury. What are we expecting him to be coming off an Achilles tear? Like, did we expect him to be like Superman, or at least he wasn't Kirk Cousins? I guess another guy who came off an Achilles tear. Look how bad he was. So I don't know, man. And then like people like my boy, me and Nick Shine always arguing over this stuff, but he's always checking out of the run. He's always audibling out of the run. It's like, yeah, because the run wasn't working all year. Like maybe a little bit later in the year, as we were playing a couple shittier teams, like the run started picking up. Especially when when Isaiah Davis got in there, he was the electric one last year to me. At the end, he looked really good. So, but I just all that Rodgers hate is just like, look, am I rooting for him on the Steelers? No, because I want my coach Aaron Glenn to be right. I want him to be like, this is my pray. This is what I pray about. Like, I want it to be like, wow. Aaron Glenn nailed it. We didn't need Rodgers. We needed Fields. We needed this young core. And we all know why Glenn didn't want Rodgers. The number one reason is because look at his pedigree. You don't want we have not one old veteran on the team. That's why people are like, oh, sign a veteran. We're not signing anyone who needs any special treatment or doesn't have the legs or the youth to tackle during minicamp. Like, we're not looking for those old veterans. And our offensive line, if you subtract Membu and add Morgan Moses, is identical to last year, and we couldn't run the ball. So if we come out this year running the ball, that's just going to scream coaching and scheme like from the high heavens. So we have the same 4 out of 5 guys, add a rookie, let go of a solid vet, and then all of a sudden we're going to be this hard-nosed, running over people, we're going to pound it down your throats. Like, we couldn't get 1 yard how many times last year, and we had a Hall of Famer and Breece Hall, who's upper echelon running back in the league, and we still couldn't get 3rd and 1s, or 4th and 1s for that matter. So I just think we all have to realize, like, yes, Rodgers is gone, but it wasn't as bad as people make it. He literally almost broke our franchise single season records, and it's like, oh, he was terrible, 19 points a game. Yes, it was a debacle last year. Some of those games, the Broncos losing 10-9, and some of those shit games where Rodgers was playing hurt. Like, there's so much stuff that goes into all that happened last year. So I just hate when we just say, oh, it was all Rodgers' fault. Like, that's a crock of shit.
Now, what are your thoughts on the law offices this week? Do you guys take any time off in the summer? Are you guys working around the clock? What's the latest at Alden's attorney at law?
We only at this attorney office, we only take off during Jets season. we are hardcore through and through, and then once the Jets and football season comes around, we're out of office a lot. So, don't hit me up during football season because.
Now, one of your clients apparently clogged the toilet and is denying it. Any thoughts on what happened with Mr. Beastbreaker?
Well, by now I should probably have a good plumber in my pocket because of all the shit I've been going through at my house. But I kind of know what I'm doing now. I've been watching a lot of YouTube. So, Beast, if you need a plumber as much as a lawyer and a friend, hit me up, bro.
Now, Beast, let me also ask Bonesy for his thoughts on this. What's your take on the debate on whether or not where Beast resides is a lair or a global studio headquarters?
Oh, it is 100% a global studio. It is. Listen, couldn't you see Beast? This is what Beast does. He takes his shirt off in the attic and he's like, I'm too sexy for my attic. Too sexy for my love. That's what Beast does. But Beast is.
How about the fact he said he's getting tan in a dark attic? That's why he had his shirt off.
I mean, he thinks he's sitting under the lights that he could grow marijuana with, so he thinks that it can make him tan as well. That's Beast, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he is, the great Mr. Bonesy.
Mr. Bonesy.
Ladies and gentlemen, gift the channel membership if you want a chance to win a signed Keyshawn Johnson jersey at the end of the show. This week's top raffle prizes include the following 3 items: a signed Sauce Gardner jersey, a signed Justin Fields jersey, and a signed Aaron Glenn jersey. That's right. Those are the 3 prizes in raffle number 30. Gift away for your chance to win any of those prizes. If you missed it, the winners of raffle 29 we announced earlier in the show. Snowball won the Joe Namath football. Daz won the Darrelle Revis football. PBM won the Corbett jersey, and and Knob Craft won the Kevin Mawai jersey. Ryan says, nice prizes, Jake. Thank you, Ryan. Try to pay it forward to this audience. Jake Quest, you had a nice compliment for me earlier, so I appreciate this. Jake doesn't get enough credit on how flawless he is with the drops and how the show was done. Thank you, Jake Quest. I appreciate the kind words. Remember, if you call in, you earn a raffle ticket. Knob just won a prize, and he is paying it forward. He has 5 more chances to win another prize. 5 gifted memberships from Knob Craft. And Knob, I'll tell you what, there is no rule that says you can't win a weekly raffle prize and a daily raffle prize on the same day. So you're in for 5 for this prize, the Keyshawn jersey that I'll raffle away at the end of the show. Knob, this is for you. Now, the following 5 people are channel members because of you. Dylan Terriman, Randy Martinez, Dirty Ray Gun, Jet Fan for Life, and John Eric. All right, home stretch here. Gift away if you want in. Until then, let's get to more of your calls because joining us on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is none other than the great.
Hello, I'm Mikey. I'm Bobby's little bro. Have you seen Jake Graves? She's so beautiful. I love my boy Jake, but not in a gay way. I am so happy. I'm not going to touch anything, I promise. Jake, can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you, Mikey.
Hey, Jake, guess what? On Saturday night, my cat went through the window. She didn't come back till like 5:30 in the morning. I got scared, but she's doing okay.
Wait a second. Your cat just got up and just left your home?
Yeah, she crashed through the window.
Does she normally do that, or she escaped?
No, and my friend came over and put the air conditioner in for me yesterday.
Oh.
So she's back home relaxing. She likes you, Jake. She thinks you're a pretty cool dude.
I'm glad your cat likes me. I'm glad your cat's okay.
Yeah, she's starting to like the Jets. You know who she likes?
Who?
Garrett Wilson. She has the heart for Garrett Wilson.
Your cat has the hots for Garrett Wilson, really?
Yeah, she watches him when he was an interview on TV. I thought that
Okay.
was pretty. And guess what? Bobby's gonna try to get a job Wednesday. I'm gonna drop him at 2 o'clock. Then maybe I could sit in the car just wait for him.
All right.
Yeah, I think he could get a job. Everybody knows us at the 99.
I'll tell you what. He the 99 and Bobby Midnight. It just kind of feels right, you know.
Yeah, because we and I'm still working at the hospital. They didn't get rid of me yet. I still love it, and I want to work with you sometime.
I'll offer you a job right now, Mikey, as my director of positivity. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that. That would be good.
All you have to do is just be yourself. Just call in and continue to be the positivity magnet that you are, and you got a job for life with me.
Okay, tell Nick Sean I love him very much. And what's his name? Allie and Jeff Kent. That's it. Rick Kent. No, Rick Kent. Because Jeff Kent is brother. I remember that.
That's right. Jeff Kent, former Major League Baseball player. That's Rick Kent's brother.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me. I agree with him.
Yep.
He likes the Mets too, because I saw it. And then, you think the Jets go be 15-2 still?
15-2 and Super Bowl champions, Mikey.
Yeah, we go play Detroit, my cat's team, Ophelia's team.
Your cat roots for the Lions?
Yeah, she likes the Lions and Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope you have a good day, brother.
You too, Mikey. Thanks for the time as always.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Mikey. I'm Bobby's little bro. Have you seen Jake Graves? She's so beautiful. I love my boy Jake, but not in a gay way. I am so happy. I'm not going to touch anything, I promise.
What a call from Mikey to start the week. We got some memberships to shout out. Hey, shout out to Ryan McCarthy, who has gifted 5 channel memberships to enter our weekly and daily raffle at the end of the show. The following 5 people are channel members because of Ryan's generosity here. Josh Frischman, Dicker the Kicker, Mikey Boy Jets LI, and Maji NYG. Did I say Nate A? Nate A also in that batch as well. And then Eli, who earlier shared that the Garrett Wilson signed photo that he won arrived safely out to Denver. He has gifted 5 channel memberships. Eli, thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Barney Miller, C Cap, Joshua Mink, Jared Mount, Amtaj 4K, all receiving a channel membership gift away. Home stretch of the show. Going to do the daily raffle announcement shortly here. But first, let's get to more of your calls before it all wraps. And I think this one has a chance to be a special call because, ladies and gentlemen, joining us live from the beach is one of the more passionate fans of the New York Jets. Look at this guy.
Living my best life, Jacob. This is my pool. This isn't a beach.
You know what? From the distance, I thought the pavement behind you was sand. I couldn't tell it was brick.
No, I'm at the pool. How you doing?
I'm good, Neil. How's the bucket hat? You look tremendous.
You like the bucket hat? It was an original. It's an original Jake Asman.
There we go.
It's one of the first 5 bucket hats ever purchased on your merch store.
I love that. Well, you know I appreciate all the support, Neil.
It's already dirty as hell. I went to put it on, and forget it. It's been sitting here for at least a year. When did you start the merch store? Do you have a date that you started it?
Yeah,
it's been over a year.
We opened almost a year. We opened it the day the Jets started training camp last year. I think it was like July 22nd.
All right. Now, I had a very...
Uh-oh. What happened to Neil? Neil! Call back, Neil. The Wi-Fi gods took you out. Call us back. Hopefully Neil calls back. It looks like he's having a great time at that pool. Hey, shout out to Robert Morris, the pride of Ithaca College, gifting 5 channel memberships. Thank you very much, Robert.
I think that guy.
I know, right?
Robert in for 5. Charles A. Gorman receiving a membership. Timothy Moore, call it out. Pure Adrenaline Sports, Smiley GOE, all receiving a channel membership. But wait, there's more. The legend, Bobby Midnight. We just heard from Mikey. Bobby wanted to be heard from. He is gifted 5 channel memberships. So Bobby Midnight is in our raffle.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. Bobby, thank you very much. Very kind of you. We'll get Bobby in there for 1. Hopefully Neil calls back. If not, home stretch here. Lee Van says, where you be, Neil? I think Neil was in his home, just Long Island. I could be wrong, though. Maybe he's down in Florida. Although today feels like Florida or Houston. Today, in the next couple of days, this is what it's like every day in Houston in the summer. Like, I know this feeling. Well, I went outside earlier, and this was at 9 o'clock in the morning, right? So it wasn't even like peak hot yet. And this was what it's like every day from June until like October in Houston. It is brutal. It's just like an oven. You just that humidity just boom, just hits you. So I know this feeling well. Beast knows the feeling well as well, right, Beast?
Hold 1 second, Beast. 1 second, please. Just doing a little homework review and having a little agua la mas. No, that's good. That's ice cube. Well, it's going to be another 98-degree day. I'm feeling pretty good. And I hope you're ready, Jake, for some Mets baseball and some Yankee baseball.
We have Neil back with us. Neil.
All right, Jake. I was trying to go to a text that I sent Peter and Rob yesterday to kind of refresh what I was thinking about at the time. And then when I went to try to get my text, obviously I got bumped off StreamYard. I can't eat and chew gum at this. What do they say? Something and chew gum at the same time?
Yeah, something like that.
You know what I mean? Anyhow, here's the bottom line. Justin Fields is what, 8-4 in his last 12 games, okay?
Correct.
He's never had as good of an offensive line on paper as he has with us now. Correct?
That is correct. I think you could argue that.
I think his tight end situation, obviously our guy's a rookie. And the guy he had in the Bears, what was his name again? He had a lot of receptions.
Cole Kmet.
Kmet was a good tight end for the Bears. He did very well with Kmet. And I think he also connected really well with the Pittsburgh tight end. What's his name?
Pat Fryermuth. Yep.
Fryermuth. He also had some good contacts with Fryermuth.
He's good throwing to tight ends. The stats bear that out.
That's his thing. Tight ends. Let's hope he really creates some chemistry with Brees. He's obviously already got chemistry with Garrett. Now, let's talk about these extensions, okay? I'm Aaron Glenn, and here's the bottom line. Arguably, every guy that's up for an extension had an off year last year, including Garrett, okay?
Garrett was still pretty good last year.
He was good, but he didn't have an up year. He had his kind of year, all right? And the bottom line is he got overshadowed by Devontae Adams, who clearly is a better receiver than him. If I had 2 guys to go on my team to start this year, it was Devontae and Garrett. I'm not saying the long term. I'm saying this year.
Correct, but we're talking about the long term when it comes to a Garrett extension.
I get it, but here's the bottom line. I don't pay anybody, okay? I say if I'm Aaron Glenn and I'm the leader I'm supposed to be, I say, look, guys, I looked at the tape. You guys all had off years. I have that conversation with every one of them. This is a year to prove yourself. And when you prove yourself that you're, the kind of player I think you could be, and I believe you will, we're going to address your pay in the offseason. And that's it. I'd rather take the money we have right now in the cap and go get a defensive lineman and go get a number 2 receiver. And if they don't
Neil,
like
what
it,
happened to you? Did cigar smoke get in that phone of yours? I can't hear you now. You sound like a robot.
These goddamn exploding cigars. Like, gotta go, Jake. I'll call back later. Shit.
Neil, you got to pay your best players, man. The longer you wait, it only goes up. You're not finding better players than Garrett and Sauce. They want to be here. It sends the right message. It eliminates that potential distraction. It eliminates the Jets being bad at the bye, and there's trade speculation about them. I would get both deals done now. But, Neil, I do love the bucket hat and the setup. We just unfortunately couldn't hear you at the end there. But I'll say this, Neil. Let me see if I could try it one more time. Do you hear me? No, but we can't hear you clearly. But can you jump in the pool? Because visually we could see it. If you want to give us a pool jump, that will get you in the raffle for 2 instead of 1. And if it's a belly flop, it's 5 raffle tickets here. The annual Neil pool jump. We can't hear him, but we can see him. This is big.
I'm going to fall backwards and try to maintain my cigar.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
The cigar is still lit.
He did it. We're counting it.
I think that guy I know, right?
I'm in. I think that's impressive. Chat, how many tickets for Neil? He got 2 for the pool call. It's 1 for a regular call. We established it's 2 for a pool call. A belly flop would get you 5. But what is a fall back into the pool while the cigar is lit and the cigar remains lit? I think that's a 5. I'm going 5. Neil's an OG. Neil, you're in our daily raffle and weekly raffle for 5 with that spectacular call. Way to adapt. Love that. We're up to 77 raffle tickets, by the way, for the signed Keyshawn Johnson jersey raffle that I'm going to do shortly here. This is potentially our final call. Ladies and gentlemen, Pork in the Morning is next. Hello, Pork.
Hey, Jake, what's up? How you doing?
What's up, Pork?
No, I just don't like this guy running his mouth about, his former team, his former teammates and whatnot. He was part of this team,
Well, he did it during the season last year. I don't know if that changes your opinion or anything. It's not like these are new comments.
Yeah, but still, I don't run my mouth about my squad. You know what I mean? No
Do you run your mouth on how your date went, Pork? We're all dying to know. The first date the other night, you called in. You gave us the heads up. Do we have an update?
Oh, it went well. It went well. Yeah, we're going out. If you she came over on Saturday night. We watched Deadpool and Wolverine.
Whoa! So we've already been on 2 dates then.
Yeah, we played some video games together. So
arcade was date 1. It went well, and then she came over for movie night on Saturday.
Yeah.
Who's got it better than Pork in the Morning right now?
Right. It's all right to be Pork right now. It's going pretty well. My audit was successful last week. I made the government a lot of money. So I don't get much of it. So, but yeah, I think we should sign Sauce for a long time. He's a great player. He's an amazing cover man. Tackling, corners aren't known for tackling unless you're like Dick Night Train Lane or, Revis was a good tackler.
He was a great tackler.
Deion Sanders couldn't tackle shit, right? And he's a Hall of Famer. So, Sauce is probably my favorite player on the team. Just to say that. I was a defensive back when I played. So Aaron Glenn was my favorite player when he was on the team. Revis was my favorite player when he was playing. So
now, Pork, there's an interesting question from Dylan. He writes in, did he pork in the morning, though?
Well, it was after midnight, so technically, yeah.
Yeah, baby. Pork of the morning.
Yeah, so hopefully she's around for football season. Then we'll start winning games.
I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, Pork. We're happy for you. We're excited. And that's a great update. I love the positivity.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pork of the morning. One of the all-time greats. I'll tell you what. It has never been more appropriate on a day where we're discussing something Aaron Rodgers related, and Pork just said what he said, than it is to play this right now.
Hey, congrats on the sex.
Amen. Tremendous call by Pork. Jay Quest with a super chat. Black Gypsy had me agreeing with him until he said the O-line got Rodgers hurt. How about throw the ball when the O-line cut blocks? I mean, that was just a disaster of a first play, man. Who knows what actually happened there? We're talking about the 2023 fourth play of the season. I mean, the O-line got Rodgers hurt in the Denver game, though. I mean, Tyron Smith specifically that day. God, was he awful. Brutal. All right, folks. Who's ready for a daily raffle? Keyshawn Johnson signed jersey. We give it out to one lucky listener. Right after this.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly ASMANIAC raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which ASMANIAC is winning an epic prize.
Oh, baby, the Wheel of Champions. You see it. I see it. We all see it. Music, please. That's right. We've already given away 4 prizes on the show this morning. And now we give out one more. Folks, thank you to all who support the show. We couldn't do this many giveaways without you. Even in June, you tune in. And for that, I'm grateful, which is why for all the diehards who are watching Jet content in June and July till training camp, we're going to do a lot of these giveaways during the show to reward the people tuned in live. So, good luck to everyone. If you don't win, don't worry. You have a chance to win our weekly raffle prizes. So let's find out who's going to get a Keyshawn jersey right here, right now. The wheel is being spun in 3, 2, and 1. The winner of the jersey is listener Frank P. Frank, you are on some roll. I believe that is the 4th signed jersey that Frank P has won in the last 10 days. Love that. Frank's an awesome Jet fan. He certainly deserves it. Shout out to all of you, baby. Boom. Thank you for supporting our show. Frank, congrats. We'll get that sent out to you this week. Once again, congrats to everyone that won a weekly prize. Snowball, Daz, PBM, and Knob. Congrats to Frank for winning the Keyshawn signed jersey. We're back this afternoon with more opportunities to get in the raffle and a hell of a lot more. Thank you all. My name is Jake Asman. If you're watching the show this long, you knew that by now. I'll talk to you guys soon. JETS, 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 Jets. Reminder, if you're coming to Tampa, if you have questions about the Carolina game, please join my Patreon. You get 10 raffle tickets if you sign up for the year. It's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show, and it goes a long way towards supporting this channel year round. Talk to you guys soon. Go Jets, everybody. All right, folks. I want everyone to stop what they're doing because I have no idea where this call is going. Matthew is up next. Matthew, what do you got for us?
JETS, 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 Jets.
Are we doing this again with the dog?
Oh, I'm just doing test hands of a magic deck and I just dropped $300 on. I did it with a Bills fan. Hell no, that's $300. I ain't fucking with that. I had therapy this morning because I was blazed out of my mind with edibles last night after you guys won. I popped a whole gummy that really hit me hard. Eat shit. Let's go Texas.
Oh my God.
Game. They handed us the game. Jets, Jets.
Oh my God.
I think Gators got his next skit.
I got no other way around it. Gator got me there. I thought because Gator was in the chat already and he wrote something that there was no way that it would be a fake call. So when I saw Matthew on the line, I'm like, oh God, here's that wacko who called after the Eagle win with the dog and the money, and I got Gatored. I got Gatored. That's what happened there. Instead of getting got, you got Gatored. That was outstanding. Oh my God. Scott is up next on the hotline. What's up, Scott?
You look at the whole dynamics of it because it's very tough. I know, but you look at the thing and you look at the whole. What the fuck? Wow.
What do you mean?
What schematics? What element do we possess?
Scott, what are
It's
you?
a whole-
What are you asking though? I don't understand. Like,
Jake, I love you, dude. I respect you. It's fictitious crap. No. A ballerina knows how to move her hips and knows how to understand how to move her body.
you want the Jets to hire Shakira as their O-line coach so she can
No, I
teach
can't stand Shakira. No.
What do you mean?
No. Don't put words in my face. I like you, Jake. No. You have to have body fluids. You know, you look at these guys like we have this money. I've never been on steroids. I'm very muscular.
Scott, thank you. God, what? That was a sub call, man. I can't wait for the Gator remix of that one. That was an all-timer by Scott. Great line by Scott in that call. I don't do steroids, and I'm very muscular. Big takeaways. Scott wants to be the left tackle, and the Jets need to hire Shakira to teach the linemen that their hips don't lie. Or maybe Chubbs Peterson, right? It's all in the hips.
Work with me now. It's all in the head. Yeah, it's all in the hips. It's all Listen,
Get off of me.
Hey, just easing the tension, baby.
R.I.P. to Carl Weathers.